Revenge films.
I had a girlfriend who I've been dating since I was a student. After I became an adult, I worked hard for a few years and my salary was getting stable. So if she ever tells me that she doesn't want to work, or if she ever gives birth to a baby, I thought I'd be able to support her. So I proposed to her. We've been dating for so long, so I cringed a bit, but she happily accepted my proposal. We went to visit both of our parents, sent betrothal gifts, and because we had our wedding in our hometown, our relatives, our boss, as well as colleagues, and our local friends who we've known for a long time all participated, and it was a very lively party. I was also relieved that I had reached a turning point in my life. She must have felt lonely for the past few years, so I wanted us to stay lovey-dovey from now on. That was what I was planning for my newlywed life. But unlike my predictions, my marriage life was very simple. We got married after dating since our student years, so I guess our lovey-dovey era was already over. And although I was a bit upset, I was happy to see her when I got home. But shortly after, I was getting bothered by something I never realized when I was single. First of all, my wife comes home very late. She often comes back home around midnight and says that she had to work till late. She would rarely come home at the hour her work was scheduled to end. And even at home, she would usually be on her phone and brings her phone with her to the bathroom as well. I got a bit suspicious, and while she was taking a shower, I secretly checked her phone. Then I found out that she was texting with this particular guy on messages often. When I checked the messages they had been sending each other...
My work would end at this time today. Where do you want to eat next time?
Seeing the messages reminded me of the conversations I had with her while we were still dating each other. We rarely had any conversations like this anymore, but she was messaging a man I didn't know as if they had just begun dating, and my emotions were a mess with sadness and hatred. We did talk to each other about daily necessities, but she comes home late, so we didn't get to spend much time together, and we rarely went out anymore. By the way, she would often go to work on the weekends as well, saying something urgent came up. But then, I can't help but wonder why my wife decided to marry me. Was she already cheating on me before we got married? I was starting to have these thoughts, so I decided to investigate thoroughly. From the next day, I tried to investigate her actions and whereabouts, but I was struggling to catch her red-handed. There were limits for an amateur like me to investigate, and if I act too suspicious, my wife would find out and try even harder to keep her affair a secret, so I decided to hire a detective. Fortunately, we both worked full-time, so even if I used some of my savings, she wouldn't realize. In just a week after I hired a detective, they managed to get a photo as undeniable proof. Actually, I still trusted my wife till then. Her messages revealed that she was going out for meals with him, but I wasn't sure if there was anything sexual involved. But I felt devastated after seeing the photo as proof. In the photo, I saw my wife and her lover leaving the company together. I also saw photos of her having fun while she ate at a fancy Italian restaurant we've never been to. And the detective even managed to take a photo of them entering a hotel together. I then realized that we haven't had sex for a while, but thinking that she was sexually active with this guy, tears formed in my eyes out of anger and regret. After that, by the time I left the detective's office, I was starting to think how to get revenge on her. that was the only thing on my mind. With the proof, I visited the lawyer's office, and when I showed them the proof I gathered, "This is more than enough. Let's take action right away." That was what he said, but I asked if we could wait until the new year. I had already started preparing to get revenge on my ex-wife. It wasn't enough just to show her these photos as proof. I wanted her to hit rock bottom in life with her lover. So until then, I spent my usual marriage life with my wife. My wife believed that I didn't know anything about her affair. So even if she went out on dates with him and went to hotels, I endured it. And it was time for me to get revenge on her. That year, we decided to spend New Year's Eve at her parents' house. My wife assumed that we'd go to my parents' house, so she seemed a bit confused, but I told her, it's okay, we can go there anytime, and tried to play it cool. After we arrived at her parents' house, I spent a peaceful New Year's Eve watching the New Year's concert with her parents, and the next morning, as we ate the New Year's feast, we planned to go to the shrine for a blessing until we received a phone call. Here we go. I thought it was finally time, and I slowly stood up from my seat. Then I quietly left the house. My revenge plan was to send a New Year's greeting card using various photos of my wife cheating on me to all the guests who came to my wedding. The detective took plenty of photos for me, so the photos used were all different. I knew it was pretty time-consuming, but thinking that I'd be able to send her to hell, it was really nothing. Among the guests invited to our wedding, there was her boss, too, so I get to hit two birds with one stone. I bet the celebratory mood at her parents' house had turned into a hectic one by now. My wife seemed to realize that I disappeared from her parents' house, and I received a lot of phone calls and texts from her, but I ignored all of them and headed to my own parents' house. When I went back, my parents were surprised, but when I told them what happened, "You're an adult. We respect your decisions. Do whatever you want." That was what he said. Obviously, my wife called my parents' house many times as well, but I had them answer that I wasn't here and pretended like I didn't exist. My wife continued to contact me, so I left a simple message. "I'll visit your parents' house with my lawyer on the first weekend after the New Year's break." After the New Year's break, I visited their house with my lawyer, as I said. I found her parents on their knees apologizing, and I don't know how much the people around her criticized her, but my wife was waiting for me there looking very thin and worn out. My parents-in-law also gave me a look as if saying that it was too much to send a New Year's greeting card to all the guests invited to our wedding. But it was their daughter who was cheating on me, so they never dared to say it out loud. "Please forgive us, I beg you," my father-in-law said, but "I'm sorry, but I'm planning to get a divorce. If not, I wouldn't have done something like this."
No, wait, please forgive me. We've been spending a long time together, so I just wanted some spice. It's not like I don't love you anymore. I'm begging for mercy.
She begged for mercy. "I don't care anymore. I just wanted to get revenge on you. You're right, we've been together for so long. But I was overjoyed that we could finally move in together and stay together forever. But I guess you didn't feel the same." I bet I looked very cold when I said that, and my wife's face tightened with fear. I did feel a bit sorry for her parents, to be honest. We had been dating since we were students, so I thought of them as my real parents. But I don't want to keep in touch after being cheated on by their daughter. I left my wife, who wept as she apologized, and I stepped out of their house with my lawyer. Of course, I sent the card to her lover as well. It looks like he also had a wife, and it seems like they had a huge fight. But that's none of my business. I left the rest to my lawyer, and he got me compensation money from the both of them. Everyone got to know about their affair through the greeting card, and both my wife and her lover got fired from work. With so many people aware of their affair, rumors got out of hand, and her lover got divorced, shut himself in, and was no longer able to work anymore. My wife also got exposed to a lot of criticism, and it seems like she took pills to mentally stabilize herself, but ended up getting depressed and also shut herself in. I never thought I'd be betrayed by my wife, who I finally got to marry after dating her a long time. But I have no regrets.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.